Let's talk about surfaces for painting with acrylics. What I have here is a canvas panel, and these panels are flat pieces of cardboard which are covered with a canvas. They're rigid, so they do not bend, and they are perfect for working with adding objects into your painting, gluing things to it, great for collage, mixed media, things like that. Then we have this kind of a canvas. This is a traditional style. We call it traditional because of the thin sides, whereas this canvas is a gallery wrapped canvas because of its wide width. Many times these gallery wrapped canvases are not framed, whereas these can be framed. Although what's really nice about this canvas here is that it has what we call a splined edge, and so the canvas is wrapped around and you can see that it's pushed down inside of the framing with this rubber spline, which is different than something along this line, which is stapled on the edges. And many canvases are the canvas is wrapped around and stapled on the back. So there's different kinds, and it's really more of a preference. These are nice. I think they've got a nice finished quality about them. But the stapled ones make it easier if you're working on larger pieces to take it off of the stretcher bars and then restretch it later. It gives you more canvas. There's not much canvas here to work with if you had to remove it from the stretcher frames and restretch it. So in addition to these, we also have some of these other products. This here is an artist panel for oil or acrylic. It's got a paper finish on it that has a texture in it that looks like canvas, and then it's put onto these masonite boards. And then these are great too, by the way. These are great for rigid surfaces if you need to add a lot of layers or other items. This also works. This is Luan. You can pick it up at any hardware store. And it's got a nice smooth surface on one side. It's a little rougher on the other. This is what that smooth side would look like if it had gesso on it, which is your primer. And then on this side, we have a painted over the top of the gesso, so this is ready to work on. And these surfaces, again, I mean, if you need something rigid and thin that could be put in a frame, this would work great for you. You also have these choices of illustration board. And illustration board comes in two different kinds. This is a hot press, which is very, very smooth, and this is a cold press, which has a bit of a texture to it, a little bit of a tooth. And this is just paper on cardboard. These are canvas, they're fabric, and then on the back they have a sticky back where you can peel it and stick it onto another object. And then this is a clay board, very, very smooth. This would be excellent for somebody who loved to do high detailed type work because it's such a smooth surface. It'd be easy to work with. And then we have this. This is just a piece of heavy cardstock. And for the cardstock, what I do is I do the mono printing, and then I paint over the top of them. So you could see that it's nice and smooth. It's not all curled up and warped or anything. It didn't wrinkle up all through the middle. It works pretty well because when you're doing the mono printing, as soon as you pull that off, the paper has absorbed the water and the paint is pretty much dry. Now, here's another surface you could paint on, and that's glass. And acrylics work with all of these. If you're going to paint on glass with acrylics, you need a glass painting medium because the paint doesn't want to adhere, and if it does, it doesn't stay on. Like, you couldn't throw it in the dishwasher and expect it to last. What I've used here instead is Pepio paints. They're designed specifically for glass, and they come in both opaque and transparent colors. So in addition to that, I'd like to mention that there's not a right or wrong way. I mean, there's nothing that says you have to paint on any particular surface, but anytime you're working with any kind of canvas or paper or these panels, anything like this that you want to use, acrylics will work well for. So you could paint on any kind of wood products. I think the things to know is that it does not stick to plastic, and it does not stick to like enameled surfaces, metal. If you can paint with it with metal, but you have to have a special treatment for the metal to do that. So these are your main painting surfaces and how they work. There's not really something I can say about preference. I love working on the paper when I'm doing the mono printing. I love working on these flat surfaces when I'm in a classroom situation because they don't take up as much space in my bag. They're easier to transport to and from class. Then I love these, and I love the traditional style because you can have the option. You see I've painted along the edges. You could just put this up as it is on a little easel on the table, or you could frame it and hang it on the wall. I also love these because of the depth. They really give the painting, especially large scale paintings, a beautiful quality. This one just sits on a shelf in my studio, and then the larger ones are great because I don't feel like I have to frame those. So that's it on surfaces for today. I'll see you next time.